your university can use immediately. This is the basic session, right? My other colleagues from Google will come on later on to share the more advanced sessions.
เพื่อนก็กล่าวสวัสดีอาจารย์ทุกท่านนะคะให้น้องขายของกันมันเลยเนาะค่ะก็สวัสดีอาจารย์ทุกท่านนะคะก็สำหรับวันนี้ทีมงาน Google นะคะใช้ดิสคอร์ดนะคะก็เป็นพาร์ทเนอร์ของ Google นะคะแล้วก็ทางนี้คือคุณแฮร์รี่พอนะคะก็จะเป็น Head of Google Education Enterprise Team นะคะวันนี้ทีมของเรามากันหลายท่านเลยทีเดียวเดี๋ยวจะขออนุญาตแนะนำก่อนแล้วกันนะคะท่านที่หนึ่งนะคะคุณซามูเอลค่ะค่ะท่านนี้นะคะจะเป็นHead of Google Access Team นะคะ Education Access Team ประจำ Asia Pacific แล้วก็ท่านที่สองคุณเดวอนนะคะจะเป็นGoogle เลยคนนี้บินตรงมาจากนอกเลยนะคะแล้วก็ค่ะท่านที่สามนะคะจะเป็นคุณสุภัทธิดาหรือคุณปุ้ยนะคะจะเป็น Head of Google for Education นะคะสำหรับประจำประเทศไทยส่วนดิฉันเองนะคะปุ๋ยจิตรภาไทยรัฐจะเป็นพาร์ทเนอร์ของ Google อีกท่านหนึ่งนะคะคุณจารุณีนะคะหลายๆท่านอาจจะคุ้นเคยกันดีคุณเก๋นะคะก็จะเป็นพาร์ทเนอร์อีกท่านหนึ่งมาจากบริษัท CRAMC แล้วก็สุดท้ายแล้วน้องชื่ออะไรนะน้องตูเช่อินเตอร์นะคะเป็น Google Ambassador โปรแกรมไม่แน่ใจทุกท่านเคยได้ยินหรือเปล่า Google Ambassador โปรแกรมนะคะแล้วก็จากทางมหาวิทยาลัยขอนแก่นเลยนะคะสำหรับวันนี้ทีมงานของเรามาหลายท่านเลยในภาคเช้านะคะคุณแฮร์รี่คุณแฮร์รี่นะคะวันนี้คนสำคัญเลยนะคะเป็นทีมของทาง Google Education Enterprise Team วันนี้ทางเซสชั่นเช้าคุณแฮร์รี่ก็จะมากล่าวถึงเป็นภาพ overall ก่อนเลยในส่วนของ Google App for Education นะคะหลายๆท่านมีคำถามมาว่าเอ๊ะที่เมื่อวานเราได้คำถามมาแล้วว่า Google App for Education ที่เราได้มาเนี่ยทำอะไรได้บ้างเนาะเดี๋ยวในช่วงเช้าคุณแฮร์รี่ก็จะมาบอกก่อนว่าจากทั้งหมดเลยที่มีอยู่เนี่ยเราได้ใช้กันหมดหรือยังจะเป็นลักษณะของการเป็นบะหมี่กึ่งสำเร็จรูปก่อนให้เราเข้าใจก่อนแล้วก็พอมาในช่วงสายๆหรือว่าช่วงบ่ายเนี่ยก็จะมีทางนะคะทางทีมของเราเดี๋ยวจะมีใหม่ท่านหนึ่งก็จะลงมาในสู่เทคนิคมากยิ่งขึ้นวันนี้เดี๋ยวจะอยู่ช่วยด้วยนะคะถ้าเกิดใครมีคำถามหรือต้องการความช่วยเหลือสามารถยกมือได้เลยนะคะเซสชันนี้จะเป็นเซสชันกันเองนะคะตามสไตล์ของ Google ค่ะ Okay so Harry you can start now yes and if you have any questions just raise your hand and then we are here to answer all your questions thank you ค่ะ
Now, when Google looked at the market and what is happening, these two statistics concern us. These two statistics are something that we think about a lot. Right? What do these statistics say? 60% of your students today will work in jobs that currently do not exist. 16 years ago, if you had told me I would work for Google, I would have said, what is Google? Because 16 years ago, Google didn't exist. There was no company called Google 16 years ago. The second statistic is that your students, when they graduate today, they will have 6 to 8 different jobs. And these jobs may have nothing to do with what they trained for in university. If the job will change and there is no certainty on what the job is, plus there are new devices that are coming out. You see Google Glasses, you all know Google Glasses? Yeah? New devices will come out. 20 years ago it used to be Windows. Now there are Macs, there are iPads. It's many different environments. The skills that companies look for, 21st century skills around communication, around collaboration, very important. And there is a lot of information that is out there today. As an example, for every single minute of YouTube that you watch, 100 new hours of YouTube are being uploaded. Against this background, how do you train your students? We know that students are very, very technology savvy. They use technology extensively. But if we look into our classrooms today, there is very little technology that is being utilized. Google, as a company, believes that open technology is something that is very important for students to learn about. And so because of that, we have made available a course suite of services called Google Apps for Education. Can I have a show of hands? How many of you are familiar with Google Apps for Education? Yes? Okay. Google Apps for Education is free. That's the most important thing for universities and for your students and faculty. We don't charge any money for this. Alright? It is the equivalent of Microsoft Office. So if your university is spending a lot of money right now on Microsoft Office, take a look at Google Apps for Education. It comes with cloud storage, which is Google Drive. It also comes with a word processor called Google Docs. It comes with a spreadsheet. It comes with a presentation package. It comes with free email. So if your university is running your own data center and spending a lot of money on that, if you want to move to Gmail, we can provide the domain name of your university for your students to use our email system as well. It comes with groups, which allows your faculty members to create a way to create groups so that you can communicate with your students. It also provides you with a very, very simple website builder called Sites. Now, more than that, Google Apps for Education allows your students to work together collaboratively. What do I mean? If, for example, I'm a professor and I want to have a class discussion on topics of interest, important topics that are happening in the world today, I can actually create a Google form to find out from my class, do a quick survey to find out some of the things that they are interested in discussing. And this form allows everyone to go in. So if you have your handphone now, if you have your iPad, if you have your Windows computer, would you enter this link, please? I'm carrying out a survey. I've actually developed an online form where I'm now carrying out a survey. So open your browser. Right, and go into this link. Okay, and then when you open this link, it will take you to a little survey, and I want you to answer the questions in the survey. Alright, it's HTTP, it's GOO /GL/ capital Z, capital N, small g, small j, the number 8, and small q. Are all of you in there? Anyone who doesn't have this link yet? Yeah, you're in? Okay. Now, when you go into this link, you should see something like this. This is a form, a very simple form that I've created. Alright, so I'm getting feedback from my class for the discussion tomorrow. What are we going to talk about? Do we want to talk about climate change? Do we want to talk about world hunger? Do we want to talk about terrorism? So I want all of you to put in your answer. And then to click submit. Now, the moment that you have done that, the results are automatically compiled for me in a Google spreadsheet. See all these results over here? See? So you can get feedback from your class very, very quickly around surveys. You can do a pop quiz. And then using a tool called Flubaru, you can actually automatically mark the quiz as well. And the results will be automatically populated in a spreadsheet for you. So as a lecturer, as a professor, this saves you a lot of time. You don't have to mark the pop quiz. So based on this, right, it looks like most people want to have a discussion around climate change. Alright, so I'm now in class. And I say, okay, class, looks like based on the survey that I did yesterday, alright, we will have a discussion about climate change. I have created another document, so I now want you to type in this URL. Okay. Small g, small o, full stop, small g, small l, slash, small w, big T, small p, small u, small r, and big Y. And if I click on that, I'm automatically brought into a document. Okay. I'm going to give you the URL again in case you missed that. Right? Okay. GOO full stop GL slash small w capital T small p small u small r capital Y. Anybody still needs this? Everyone okay? Now you notice, right, there are several of you now that have come together into this form that I've made publicly available. Right? So, if you are a professor and you're working with your student, you're having a discussion on how to write this paper, you can actually provide feedback to your student immediately using comments. I can insert a comment, right? Okay. Then your students can see the comment. Your students can use the research tool. Right? Say climate change. Right? You can read, and if you want to insert that, you can insert that as well. Or go into that climate change document to read. You can actually have a citation. here, you notice the link here, the citation is up there. And then the bottom, right, it automatically provides a citation of the reference that your students are using. Now, why is this very powerful? Remember what I mentioned earlier about how important it is to provide students now with communication and collaboration skills, teamwork skills. With Google Apps for Education, you can assign a project to a group of 5 students, and then the students, when they're working on the project, they don't even have to be face-to-face anymore. You can use video conferencing facility like Hangouts for the students to discuss from their home and work together on a term paper like this. Yeah, is this cool? Alright. So it's very, very easy to get this done. Now, you will notice that up here, it's all anonymous, right? The reason it's anonymous is because when I set up the permissions for this document, I said allow anyone with the link to come into the document. If your university is using Google Apps for Education, you can create login credentials for every single student. So that means whenever a student signs into this document, you can see who is the student that is signed in. You can also see which student has made which comment. Right? So if you're afraid that some students may mess up the document, right, you can actually go back. It's almost like an auditing feature for you to go back and see what students are doing in this document. Any questions? Any comments? Okay. If you want to sign up for Google Apps for Education, right, just go to Google and then Google Apps for Education sign up, and it will bring you to a link. Alright, it's an automatic sign up. You can just provide information about your university or about your department. Okay? And the moment that Google confirms that you are a real university, we will provide you an unlimited number of accounts. Right? So you can enroll all your students, all your faculty members, and this is free. We have never charged for this and we never will. Yes.
You said that it's free. This policy will continue forever?
It will continue. So Google Apps for Education has always been available for free to not-for-profit institutions. There is Google Apps for Business, right? Google Apps for Business we charge because if you are a for-profit company and then you want to sign up for these tools, we charge you $50 per year per user. But if you are a not-for-profit education institution, we make this available for free.
Like on University?
Correct. Correct. Very good question. Very good question. Yeah. So the question is, how many users can you have for this account? As many as you want. As many as you want. Currently, the number of education users that Google has is about 30 million. 30 million. So our servers are massively scalable. Our uptime is easily, I think, 4.9 uptime. So from an IT department perspective, you don't have to worry about downtime. The service is up almost continuously 24/7. So very, very high levels of reliability as well. Any other questions about Google Apps for education? If you want to ask the question in Thai, please ask the question in Thai. My colleagues will be able to answer.
And how many of the students at the same time can access this mobile application?
The mail application or simultaneously on the document?
Maybe simultaneously on the document.
The document maximum is 50. 50. But when you have a group of 50, you know that it's not going to be very good work. Many students will not participate. So what we normally do, what we normally recommend as a best practice, if you want to get a group of students who work together, don't have more than 5 to 8 students working on the same project. Because if you have 5 to 8, if you keep the group small, you know that each student will work hard. If you have too large a group, there are going to be many students that don't contribute.
And for example, that's before when we try to do some tests, for example, how can the student can do that at the same time? For example, you ask about what is the issue that was discussed most.
Yes.
Then climate change or hunger or something like that.
Yes.
How many students at the same time can do the test?
So that quiz,
Yes.
the quiz is unlimited. The quiz is unlimited. As far as I know, there isn't a limit. So you can have, if you've got a whole lecture room of 400 students, 500 students, 1,000 students, and you want them to do a pop quiz immediately, you can do that. Right? Now, that pop quiz, if you notice in the sheet earlier, alright, the results, if you use the form, you can also see a timestamp, right? So you can tell your student, you have to finish the quiz by such and such a time, if you want to give them homework. Or if you are doing the quiz in the class, in the forms itself, you can actually stop accepting input. Right? So you say pens down, no more input, you can click a button, and then the system will not take any more input. Yeah.
And do we have every time to create our own forms for this? And is it difficult to create the form?
No. Let me show you. Let me show you how this can be done. Okay. So I'm going to go to my drive. Oh, actually, I do have that external. I do have it set up over here. Okay. Great. So this is what you would see, right? If you have a Google account, Google Drive. So you notice all my files are stored in the cloud. So which means whichever device I'm on, I can be on my mobile phone, I can be on my iPad, right? I can be on a school computer. The moment I access my account, I sign into my account, all my files are available. I don't have to worry about it being stored on the hard drive, and then I go on to another computer and my files are available. So over here, I just say new. See, I can create Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Forms. This is what I want. Okay. If you have a university domain, title, let's call this a test or quiz. Okay. And then I can choose the theme. Earlier on, the form that I had was this theme over here. If I want something else, I can choose something else. So let me use this theme. Alright? Now, if this is your university domain, this is my Google domain, my company domain, you can limit the quiz to people only, your students, so you can have your student's email address, or you can say only people from my university with this domain name can come in to answer the question. Alright? And if you have many questions, you can say show progress bar at the bottom. So the question here might be, let me do something very basic. no choice. You can say this is 2. You can say this is 1. You can say this is 3. Right? This is a required question. Add item. You can have a text input, different types of input that you can choose. Right. Choose from the list option 1, option 2. Right, say this is a required question. This is done. Okay. If I wanted to, I can actually show the results, the summary results in the spreadsheet. If not, you just say send a form. And here, I can add the name of my students if I wanted to. Yeah? So if you know how to use a word processor, the forms is very, very simple to use as well. Yeah? Now, any questions about this?
How to make a link,
Good question. Good question. So the link is here. Link to share. Yeah, the link to share. Now, how to make a short link? Oh, even better question. Very good question. Now, so for those of you, right, so I've just copied this link. For those of you that are not familiar, there is this tool called WUGL. WU.gl. Okay? And then what I can do in WU.gl, I can paste the long link, right? And then I say shorten URL. And then it gives me a short URL. Right? So WUGL works on all URLs. Right? Make it very easy for your students in class to actually do something like this. To track and then to type out the URL. Yeah? Any questions? Any comments before I move on? Yes?
If I cannot catch up or remember what you have said, does Google have the detailed documentation for us to study by ourselves?
Yes. So we provide, you go to this link. There's a learning center over here. Right, learn Google tools. So if I click here, right, Drive and Docs. Gmail sites. So these are the basics. So if you just go Google/edu or Google/education, right, you will be able to find the links for training. Now, there are 3 levels of training. This is the most basic. All right. So this is level 101 introductory training.